Hello friends, here טהורי, document advisor. In this video, I'll share my journey of summarizing my household finances monthly and how to actually prevent the harvest, which essentially guarantees our growth over time. So my advice to everyone is to have a financial coffee once a month with your partner or alone and to summarize the household budget. How is that done? In practice, first thing, the pie chart moves to the entrance from all accounts. Second thing, she's climbing through the details of the credit card statement. What dropped for me last month, what started in my account last month, and both bank and non-bank credit cards, covered everything. Plus, I can highly recommend it to everyone. Registering the cash treasures doesn't have to be daily, but still to whisper the things in an organized way, either in an app or somewhere. I personally do it. Grabs a monthly board and marks the level. I tally up my major expenses in cash on a weekly basis, really aiming to understand where I stand financially after actually getting through the gate and also recording a stormy storm. And I already have to record. I wish I might have wanted for a long time. I can actually start to register and start analyzing the past months before I want all the expenses I had. I worry. And actually, of course, the scratch. So we're figuring out if it sparks interest or not. Are you writing in square? And I start to actually cross-reference things. So initially, I just go over every single section. And my recommendation is to do things in Excel because it's the most organized and easiest to digest. When I'm actually dividing my treasures for 3, what does this mean? And thus begins to get into the matter. The first expense is actually an investment expense or wealth tax under this clause, under this list of treasures, includes all expenses which are actually an investment of some sort for retirement, for dividends, medals. Basically, every expense, every saving I have, whether it's this bank or another, I register it under a wealth tax. I call it, to this clause, the economic freedom clause. In the second rubrica, in the second expense group, I call it growth expenses, expenses that actually help me grow as a person, as a character, as a businessman. For example, in these countries, we can see GIS, professional, personal empowerment, donations, circles I have, books, all sorts of things that actually help me grow as a person. And this is a place that I actually call, as I said, the growth group. Actually, in the last category, it's all the other expenses, the disability expenses, rent, food, shopping, and so on, and so on. All the routine things that don't fit into the first 2 categories will go here. Until here, everything is wonderful. It's possible from March, from its proper division. What's the ideal division for me to achieve growth and economic well-being? So about wealth tax, my goal is to reach 10% from my budget screen, that it would be a wealth tax. Is my understanding that 10% would go to my economic freedom, 30% I would allocate for my growth expenses, and 60% to the means of consumption. Now there are surely those who say, listen, with such rotten luck and these shoes, I barely scrape through the month, so what's this style nonsense about? In such a victory, I was allotting a say with an 80% tune for a 20% increase in consumption, not for wealth, not for saving. Why? Megan signs 8. The more I invest in myself, in my professional and business growth, the higher value I can provide both in the rodeo and in life. And then when I raise, everything raises with me. as I specialize, grow and develop professionally and personally. So I can provide more value when I can give more value and more services, and I have broader horizons, and I know to conduct myself more precisely. And on this path, my economic success will finally be achieved. I'll reach a point where I can also give the 10% wealth tax. Of course, the ideal here is that we could give more, each according to their means and budget, but that's the gist of it, standing on one leg. So if you enjoyed and have comments or questions, you're more than welcome to leave me questions and comments, and I'll be happy to respond as soon as possible. For success,